Dr. Vidya Mandir, High School and Junior College welcomes all the 12th standard computer science students. Today, we are going to continue with the pin configuration of 8085. This is the pin configuration. The introduction to the pin configuration we have already discussed. Let us revise. It is a 40-pin IC where the pins are arranged in DIP, that is dual inline package. Equally, they are distributed, and it is classified into different categories. My 8085 microprocessor. This is the notch of the IC. 8085 microprocessor. The pins are arranged in U shape. Some pins are familiar to us, some pins are new. These are the pins. First we learned with the power supply. A power supply, each and every IC requires plus 5 volt power supply for the operation. Positive is connected to pin number 40 and negative is grounded. Secondly, clock signals. A crystal of 6 MHz frequency is connected across pin number X1 and X2 with the help of RC or LC network. The crystal is used to drive the internal circuitry. The crystal is used to provide proper frequency for the operation. The frequency is internally divided by 2, which is nothing, the operating frequency, which is 3 MHz. So the crystal that is going to be operated should be always twice the operating frequency. Next is the clock out signal, where pin number 37 is occupied by clock out. It is a system clock for devices connected to the processor. Its frequency is always half the crystal frequency, that is 3 MHz. Then we have the multiplexed address and data bus, which we have done in order to reduce the number of lines. It is bidirectional. It does dual purpose, that is, it is treated as a lower order address bus as well as the data bus. And it is separated by using latch, that is address latch enable. Next, we have the higher order address bus. The higher order address bus, it is unidirectional. The lower order is multiplexed. The higher order is always kept separate. Only this concept we have learned in the last class. Today we are going to learn about serial in output signals and the interrupt signals. So we are going to elaborate about the serial in output signals and the interrupt signals. So first start up with the interrupt signal. You can see interrupt we have already discussed in the previous classes. So from pin number 6 to 11 is occupied by your interrupt signals. So let us discuss about each and every interrupt signal in detail. Trap. The signal is used to interrupt the microprocessor. It has the highest priority among interrupts. When the interrupt is recognized, the next instruction is executed from a fixed memory location, that is 0024H. So we know it is a vectored interrupt. So whenever the interrupt arises, the control is transferred to a specific memory location. How we get the memory location? We multiply 4.5 into 8. We get an address in decimal. We divide it by 16 in order to convert it into hexa. So we represent the address in 4 digits. So 0024H, where H represents hexa numbers. It is a non-maskable interrupt. That I said, it is used in any case of emergency like power failures or fire alarms, and it cannot be kept pending. That is, whenever the trap arises, the processor has to compulsory attend the interrupt, and it is a vectored interrupt. Now let us discuss about RST 7.5. RST stands for restart. The signal again is used to interrupt the microprocessor. It is a vectored interrupt. So here, when the interrupt arises, the next instruction is executed from the memory location, that is 003CH. It is again a maskable interrupt, that is, we can ignore, we can keep it pending, and it has lowest priority than trap. because as per the priority list, trap has the highest priority and the second priority goes for RST 7.5. Next we have RST 6.5. This signal again is used to interrupt the microprocessor. It is a vectored interrupt. So when the interrupt is recognized, the instruction is executed from the fixed memory location, that is 0034H. And again it is a maskable interrupt. And it has lowest priority than TRAP and RST 7.5. RST 5.5. The signal is used to interrupt the microprocessor. It is again a vector interrupt. So here it is executed from 002CH when the interrupt is recognized. Again it is a maskable interrupt. It has lowest priority than TRAP, RST 7.5 and RST 6.5. So priority wise, first we give to TRAP, secondly comes RST 7.5, thirdly 6.5 and lastly we have 5.5. That is in case of vector interrupt. Next we have INTR, where INTR stands for interrupt request. INTR is a level triggered maskable interrupt request input signal. So we discussed in the concept of interrupt that what will happen to the microprocessor when it is interrupt. So the INTR pin will be always an active low pin. So when it makes transaction from low to high, the processor will come to know that there is an interrupt. So basically INTR is an input signal which is used to inform the microprocessor that an interrupt has arisen. So what is the initial status of the INTR? It was always low. So in order to make the transaction from low to high, we trigger it. So what we call the triggering as the process of giving external power supply to change the state from high to low or from low to high. So INTR is here level triggered maskable interrupt. It is the general purpose interrupt with lowest priority. When interrupt signal is given on this line, the microprocessor executes the interrupt acknowledgement cycle to read the interrupt information from the interrupting device. This we have also discussed, students. So whenever an interrupt arises, what was the first thing? The processor completed the current task. Second, it accepted the interrupt by acknowledging it. Why it is acknowledging? If the acknowledgement is not done, the peripherals will again and again disturb the processor. That is interrupt the processor. When this arises, the program counter doesn't increment its content. This also we have discussed that whenever an interrupt arises, the program counter doesn't get incremented. It will complete up the current task, accept the interrupt and acknowledge the interrupt, and it will check whether it is maskable or non-maskable. If it is as per the cases, then it will increment. If in case if it is a maskable, then it will ignore, it will complete the process and attempt. If it is non-maskable, what it will do? It will store the address of the next executable instruction in the stack, go to the ISR, complete it up, and then come to the main program. So the program counter is never incremented. INTR is enabled and disabled by software. So if I want to enable and disable my INTR, I am going to use a software instruction in order to perform the process. Okay, so these are the 5 important interrupts, that is TRAP, RST, 7.5, 6.5, 5.5 and INTR. When it is asked in the board paper, you are going to write, that is explain the pin configuration of if interrupt has been asked, you are going to write as it is. We are going to learn this is an acknowledgement signal, but it comes under the category of interrupt, which is an acknowledgement signal. Interrupt, we have only 5, keep in mind. This is an acknowledgement for interrupt, that is INTA. So INTA, interrupt acknowledgements. Students, you can see above INTA I have marked here a line, that is nothing but bar. The bar indicates that it is always an active low signal, that is it will be active when it goes low. Again, I am saying the bar indicates that it is an active low signal. In order to make it active, we are going to make it low. So INTA stands for interrupt acknowledgement. It is an active low signal, that is because of the bar. The low in INTA indicates the processor has acknowledged an INTR interrupt. That is, INTA is a signal which is sent from the microprocessor to the peripherals informing that the request has been received. So please don't disturb me. I will look into it. So by this we come to the concept of interrupts. So here this is the interrupt vector table. You can see in the table the name of the interrupt has been given. It has been arranged according to the priority. Then it has been informed whether it is a maskable or a non-maskable interrupt. As we know, all the interrupt except trap are all maskable interrupts. Next, the masking methods. Masking method means what I am going to do in order to enable and disable the interrupts. Trap, we can't keep it pending. Are the rest of the interrupts excluding trap, they are enabled and disabled and kept pending with the help of DI. DI stands for disable interrupt. EI stands for enable interrupt. SIM stands for set interrupt mask. Now what is the function of the SIM instruction? That we will learn in detail in unit 2. But let us just give the introduction of SIM. The SIM, whatever interrupts are kept pending, that is RST 7.5, 6.5 and 5.5, the interrupt which are kept pending is always stored in the SIM. Okay. Now vectored interrupt. Vector, we know all the interrupt except INTR are vectored interrupt. They have their own address. Priority already we have learned. And here ISR address. What does ISR stands for? Interrupt service routine. As we know, each and every interrupt excluding INTR all are vectored. So they have their own address and the triggering method. So what is a triggering? The process of giving an external source in order to make the transaction from low to high or high to low. So you can see trap, the triggering method is either a level or edge sensitive. 7.5 is positive, 6.5, 5.5 and INTR. All these three are level sensitive. So we have already learned about this triggering method in the interrupt process. So I have shown over there what is edge triggering and what is level triggering. Level edge triggering, there are two type of edge triggering, positive and negative. If I am triggering towards the positive end, it becomes a positive edge. If I am triggering towards the negative part, it becomes my negative edge triggering. So here comes my serial in output signal. So we are going to learn about the serial in output ports. Now before going ahead with the serial in output ports, let me explain what are the function of this ports. Normally all the electronic circuits, all the electronic devices transfer the data in a parallel way. Parallel transmission is very much smooth. Parallel transmission is very much easy and very much convenient, we can say. Through parallel transmission, the data will be transferred at the faster rate. But there will be some devices which will be not supporting parallel ports. Okay, that is, they won't be able to transfer the data in a parallel way. So they will be transferring the data only in a serial way. That is, one after another in a sequence way. So let us discuss about SOD and SID in detail. There are two pins for serial communication. One is pin number 5, which is there for serial input data, and the other is pin number 4, which is for serial output data. SID, serial input data. This is the data line for serial input. The seventh bit of the accumulator is inputted on SID line when RIM instruction is executed. Okay, so this is the bit pattern of RIM instruction. It is an instruction which stands for read interrupt mask that we will learn in unit 2. RIM instruction will just help us to know how many interrupts are kept pending. So you can see here I have drawn the bit pattern of RIM instruction. The D7th pin is occupied by SID, that is serial input data. So in order to transfer the data in a serial way. So in order to transfer the data in the serial way, we have to execute rim instruction in which the seventh bit we have to make it active. Again, I'm saying in order to make the data, transfer the data in a serial way, we have to execute rim instruction. In rim instruction, we have to make the seventh bit active. Now, when rim instruction is executed, you can see it is 8 bit. The bit pattern will be occupied in accumulator. The bit pattern will be formed, in other words, in accumulator. So we have to make the seventh bit of accumulator high. So you can see that when I make the seventh bit of accumulator high, that is SID, automatically my serial, the data will be easily transferred in a serial way. So when I am activating rim instruction, the seventh bit of the accumulator is made active while executing rim instruction, that is for SID. So when SID is activated, the data reader is loaded in the seventh bit of the accumulator, that is when rim instruction is executed, and it will be ready to read the data. Okay. Now, SID line eliminates the need for an input port in the software controlled in output. So, because of my SID, that is serial input data, the need of a bulky serial ports has been eliminated. We have just compensated it into a single pin. Next comes the serial output data. So, based when there is an input, we require an output. It is a data line for serial output. The seventh bit of the accumulator is outputted on SOD line when sim instruction is executed. So here, in order to transfer, in order to accept the data from the serial output, we are going to execute sim instruction. So when sim instruction is executed, so this is the pattern of sim instruction. This pattern, 8-bit, will be formed in the accumulator. So we are going to activate the seventh bit of the accumulator. So in order to accept the data as a serial output, sim instruction is executed and we make the seventh bit of accumulator active, due to which the processor will be able to accept the data as a serial output. So when the seventh bit of accumulator is activated, the data return is loaded into the seventh bit of the accumulator. That is when sim instruction is executed to write SOD line. So when rim instruction is executed, the seventh bit of the accumulator is inputted on SID line, where the data will be read. And when sim instruction is executed, the seventh bit of the accumulator is output, that is your data will be returned, okay, on SOD line. So again, the SOD line eliminates the need for an output port in the software controlled serial in output. Two pin students plays a very important role, because of these two pins, the need of the serial ports has been reduced. So this is the pin configuration. Already we have discussed about clock signals. We have revised today. Today, the new concept that we have learned is what? Your interrupt in detail, as well as my serial in output signals. So interrupts, keep in mind whatever points has been written here, all are the key points. So whenever it has been asked, you are going to write as it is. Now, let us discuss some fill-ups related to the pin configuration till here. First, which is the non-vectored interrupt, that is INTR. Dash is the only non-maskable interrupt, which is trap. The pin which is used for serial input data transmission, SID. The pin which is used for serial output data, that is SOD. What is the frequency of clock out? That is 3 MHz. Crystal frequency and operating frequency of 8085 microprocessor is 6 MHz and 3 MHz. Okay, how much power supply it requires? Plus 5 volt DC power supply. So by this, we have completed the main part of our pin configuration. The next class, Let us discuss and elaborate the rest of the pin configuration. Thank you.